Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Right, good morning folks. Sounded a bit like a switcher there. Right, it's Monday morning. I was supposed to have this finished for Monday, but a lot of things over the weekend blew me off course, so it had to go to the wayside, but I'm back onto it today, Monday. And I need to get my electrics all wired in. Now, electrics, bit controversial. You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So I will throw my bit in here at the moment. If you can't wire a plug up, don't even attempt to do your electrics. If you can't wire a plug up, don't be silly. I'll get a friend in that understands electrics or is a little bit more confident, or get yourself a qualified electrician in. If you can wire a plug up and you are going to have a go at it, do not come back to me telling me that you've blown your consumer unit off because you've made a mistake and you damage yourself, because if you make a mistake, that's down to you. Right, I've done that bit, I've got rid of that bit. Right, what I need to do now is, like I say, get this powered up. So we've got the fan, needs powering up, and also we've got the LED panel. Now, what I will be using is a piece of 13 amp extension cable, and the reason why I'm using extension cable is because I've got a socket directly underneath my spray booth, and I will be using a plug, extending it up into the corner here to bring my power in. Also, this gives me a place to isolate off the spray booth, so if I need to do any work, electrical work, I can just switch it off, unplug it, and then I know there's no electric coming up here at all, and I can work safely on the cables. Simple as that. Now, the cable will be man enough to take it. Now, I'm going to have to change glasses again. Values. Now, if we bring the camera in onto this, everything that you buy will tell you exactly what amps it pulls. Now, this particular unit is, the input is 100 up to 277 volt. Now, the pull on that is 3 amp, well 0.3 amps at 50 and 60 hertz. 3 amp is what we're interested in. That's the maximum pull. I'll lift it up. That means that when you switch this on, it will draw 3 amps. After that, it will drop down because it needs that to start it. It's just like, you know, choke on a car. You pull the choke to get it started, then you push it back in again to run normal. Exactly the same with this. So there's 3 amps on that, and if I can squirm the camera over without causing too much devastation, on, like I say, on the side of everything, hopefully you can see that, because I can't. Exactly the same on this, on 50 hertz, it's 0.3 amps at 70C, so that's going to give you 65 watts usable on there. On the 60 hertz, it's a maximum load of 4 amps at 75 watts. So UK, we're in at 50 hertz. Anywhere else, I think it's 60 hertz. I don't really know about other parts of the world. You'll have to discover that out yourself, because I only concern myself with where I am. Okay, so my first little task is, I've got my piece of cable, I've got a plug, so I'm going to be drilling a hole down the back here, running my cable right the way through the spray booth from top to bottom. There is a power point. No, it's not going to go down that far. There is a power point just underneath here. So I'm going to run the cable up and get it up to where I need it. So I'm going to get that done, and then I shall come back to you and I'll run through how I'm going to wire everything up. Okay, wiring up time. Now I've gone a different route with the cable. I hope I can show you this. Instead of going down, I've gone up, through and across to another socket. Made it a lot easier for myself because I didn't have to get on my hands and knees, which I have difficulty with these days. So it made it nice and easy just to put it in there. So I've got my power supply in, and it's on a connecting block. Now we're going to have probably most electricians screaming and shouting at me saying, you don't do it that way, you have to use this, have to use that, but this is the way I do it. Right, for my fan we have the cable to supply it up with, which I've just tacked it down to the side there just to keep it neat and tidy. And then what I've done is I've stripped the outer casing off just to reveal the two inner cores. And you're going to notice there's no earth, and there isn't no earth on the fan, and there isn't no earth on the actual LED either, so we don't need to put an earth in. So we've got our two cables. I'm going to swap glasses again. Now you've got your live and you've got your neutral. So what we're going to do, we're going to feed them in around the back here, out the way, like so, and we're going to tuck that in down the back there. I hope my big arms are not in the way. Now the live feed is the feed that you actually switch. So we'll just untangle them, because I don't like tangled up wires, don't like wires at all. So I've already cut a small slot in here to take the cables through. Now the blue wire, which is the neutral, will take across here to our power supply. Okay, we'll just leave that in there. The live, we'll take this straight across, and if I just drop the camera down a little bit just to there, we're going to take that through one of these holes that have already been cut for the switches. Yeah, so that wire comes all the way down, it comes across to your switch, and that's where it hangs. Now you have to get another piece of wire. I don't know, is that bit of wire going to be long enough to return on itself? Probably not. You have to get another piece of wire, but use the same colour. This is just, are we going to get that? Actually, we could just bring that through there, couldn't we? Because that's long enough. Yep, that will do. So we get another piece of brown wire, and we feed that through exactly the same, back through, back across to your power supply. So you've got two brown wires. Now I'm going to pull that wire out so you don't get confused. This wire coming in, yeah, we need to connect that to a switch, which I did have one here earlier. Right, switch. I don't know if I can show you this. Let's change glasses again so I can see the. Now I don't know if you can see that, but at the top here it's got common. Sorry, wrong end. At the top here it's got common. Yeah, and at the bottom you've got two holes which has got one and two way. That's for switching between two switches. So you want the one way. So the cable that's just come in, change the glasses again because I can't see a damn thing, blind as a bat. So the one way we're going to put the cable in that actually comes from the fan, because that is going to be your switching. So as soon as I find some tools of choice, you see, so it's just a matter of giving yourself a little bit of lead, cutting it off, disposing of that, trimming back the cable, like so, then into your one way, which I've already unscrewed. So that goes into your one way, very simple, straightforward, and we do it up, making sure it's nice and tight. Give it a tug, make sure it's in there nice and firm, because you don't want a loose wire, because it'll arc and overheat. Simple as that. So you've got your first wire in, yeah? Then we run the second wire in, which we had. So the second wire goes across, comes back through this hole here. Now I'm going to cut that off and redo it, because I'm just using wire that I have got. So we'll trim that back. Now that wire goes into your common. So we'll loosen the screw off. That wire goes into your common. Now the reason I'm using the same colour wire is because it is a live wire, and brown is live, so if at any point somebody else comes back to do something, they know it's alive. Yeah? Don't try and mix your colours. If it's a live wire, use your brown. Right, now that switch is done. We just put that in there for the moment. That switch is connected up, so you've got your common and you've got it into one way. So this cable is ran back over. I'll snip that end off because I don't like the look of that end. Now I'm going to strip this back quite a bit. So I'm going to give that a good twist round, because I'm going into quite a large connecting block there. So this will actually be connected up. Well, I will connect it up actually, just to show you. So you fold it over so you've got something that the screw can actually bite into, and that's going to go into there. We'll tighten that up. Like so. So that is your circuit, and the circuit is broke by your switch. It's as simple as that. There's nothing too mad about it. Now the other cable, your positive, has got to be done the same. So we'll just measure that up, go into there, cut that off, get rid of that. Take that one back the same, take it back nice and far, so you've got plenty of cable, plenty of wire showing, should I say. And then fold that one over, and that one is going to go in, when I find my screwdriver, into your neutral or negative, whatever you would like to call it. So we just tighten that up. Always check to make sure they're in nice and tight, because like I say, if they're loose, they'll arc. If they start arcing, it's going to cause heat. If it causes heat, you're going to get a fire. That's it. Basics. Simple basics. Right, now we've got that in, and just to prove a point that it actually works, if you just give me 30 seconds, I shall plug in here, switch it on, and We haven't got no power. Oh, it would help, Simon, if you plugged the right one in. There we go. Yeah, that should work. As you can hear, the fan is kicked in. Is the fan working? Simple, simple. No problems at all. Right, I'm going to unplug that because I'm still playing about with the electrics. Now we've got the fan in. We know that's working. We'll clear a bit of this debris away. Now, light. And to be honest with you, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take these cables out. The simple reason is it's very untidy. I don't like things being untidy, so I'll run that through, that over to there. There, for the moment. Now we're going to be putting in the, I hope I'm not blocking your view because I'm just looking at what I'm doing. We're going to put the stepper in, the transformer, whatever you'd like to call it, it's all the same. I'm going to be putting that in down the back there. So the first thing we're going to be doing on this is we'll be putting a small connecting block on, which we're going to do up. So do it nice and tight, make sure they're good and tight so there's no arcing at all. Now I'm going to put that in there for the moment because what I'm actually going to do now is exactly the same as what we did with the fan. Another piece of cable, that one should be long enough to go from there to there. Will it be? Yeah, I'd say so. We can always bring that to there, can't we? Because no, you're not going to see any of this. That needs to come through there first, and that needs to be connected to that. So that's connected to the lights. Probably take that off there to give us a little bit more space. Yeah, that'll do, mate. Right, it looks a bit of a mess at the moment, but we'll tidy it up. Same principle. We'll cut that off because I don't like that, and that end as well. And we'll start afresh. Now we'll cut. Just take that back. Do with the rest. I did the last one, should I say? And that now will go in to the live one. Hope you can see that. I might. Right, so we've got the transformer there, brown to brown. Very difficult to show you actually, but I shall try my best. There we go, nice and tight. I don't like the look of that because there's a bit of wire showing, so I'll have that out. And we'll just snip that back a little tiny bit. And we'll have that back in there. That's better, no wire showing. There we go. Now that is going to be run the same way over to the second light switch. the second switch, should I say. So that one comes over and out through the little hole. If you do your switches one at a time, so you don't get lost, normally I just have a big mound of wires hanging out. We can leave that length. So it's the same with this one. We'll just trim the end back. I get the scalpel in the right place. Personally, if I was you, if you're doing this for the first time, don't use a scalpel. You'll probably end up splitting the end of your finger off, which I've done many times, many years before. This one needs to go into the one way, because this is the one coming from your lights. So into your one way. Like so. Nice and tight. Give it a tug. So you've got your one way one there. Something tells me I don't think this piece of cable is going to be long enough. Is that longer? That's about the same. It's a little bit thicker, but it won't hurt. Alright, we have another bit there. So that goes there. Oh, I'm going to throw that away then, and it's attached. The same again, with another piece of brown. This is slightly thicker. That's all I've got actually. It doesn't matter if it is slightly thicker, it's going too thin. So we're going to trim that one back. As you can hear, that's a little bit on the tougher side. So we do the same with that one. Right, this one goes into your common, which is the one at the top. The common one is always the single one, basically at the top. So that goes into your common. Like so. Yeah. So we've got the two switches in now. This is going to go across now to pick up another live. So that's the live from the other switch. So we've got two lives there. I know it looks a bit like Spaghetti Junction, but that's the way it goes. Snip that off. So we've got a little bit of lead on it. I'm going to trim this one back. When it decides to come off. And we'll put these two together. Like so. Nice and tightly. Making one. Where are we? Sorry about that. I keep making one wire. Now we can now join this up properly. That will go into this one. I'll take the screw out a little bit. Live into live. Do that up. So that's good and solid. Yeah. And now we need a positive or a neutral. Now we're going to have to extend this off for this. So what we need now is another piece of wire, and we have a piece here. And do the same with that. We'll trim the end off. Cut this one bit back. Like so. This is probably taking up a whole bloody video. This is. And we'll trim that back as well. Like so. Now this goes in to your blue on this side. Make sure it's well in and make sure there's no wire showing. I don't like any wire showing because I've had experience where they've been out slightly and you've touched them and you've got a nasty shock. So I always try and make sure that there's no wire actually showing. So get that right back inside of there. Like so. Tug, make sure it's okay. Now we need a little bit of lead on that to go with this one. So we'll go with that one to that length. Dispose of that. And then do the same with this one. Cut it back quite a bit. Because now we can join these two together. Join these two together. And because these are slightly thinner cables, fold it over in half to make it a good, fixing for the screw that comes down when I take it out. Take that right out. So that goes right inside. And we screw down nice and tight. I'm hoping that I managed to show you all of that. Right, now that's done. That's all connected up. So we'll pull that back to there. We're going to tidy these up. We'll get rid of the tools. So what am I going to do? I'm going to use a zip tie. Just put a zip tie. It's a big one, but it will do the job. Just to hold everything in place. Dispose of that. Zip tie on there. Just to hold that. Just tidy that up a little bit better. Now we can just manipulate that all round there. Well, I'm happy with that. So everything now is connected up to our two dangly switches, which will be screwed back in place when the time. Well, you see, I'm not going to screw them back because I'm going to put a fascia on this, and I shall be needing to take the switches off and put a fascia over the top of it. So if you bear with me a second, we will put some power back on. Make sure this time we get the right plug. And we have the lights as well as the fan. So we've got our lights on. Sorry about the lines. There's the fan on. There's the lights off. So we're all working. To be honest with you, we can probably turn that round so they face the same way. Fans off, lights off. Easy. So there we go. I hope that's made it as clear as mud for people. And like I say, if you blow yourself up, don't come complain to me that you've made a mistake. If you're not confident, get somebody who is, or get a qualified electrician. Easy as that. Right, now on to the next bit.